Hi everybody. I don't know how to start this. So I decided I was going to start making some videos because I can't think of how else to be a performer. Hopefully I'll think of some other ways later and shave. But for now, this is what you got. So the other day, I think Sunday, I ran a show called D.A.M.P. It stands for Denizens Afterlife Moon Party, and it was my attempt at creating a showcase that features basically people I want to book. I book music events for bands, and I'm usually really overworked, so I decided I was going to cut down the amount of shows I ran to 4 times a year, and I would have these D.A.M.P. showcases where that would be the only time that I book shows. And because what I do now is more bent towards electronic music and maybe a bit heavier sometimes, I thought it would be cool to book these shows where I booked that kind of stuff and created an atmosphere with like live visual artists and pretty much anyone who does anything weird. And hope that people would come out. The first one went really well. Because I have so long and far in between booking them, I get to be really intentional about who I book, which means that basically I get to stay as far away from booking shows full of a bunch of like white people who are dudes and cisgender and straight as I can. I don't have to book those people. Sometimes when you get large amounts of emails from people asking to play shows, and 90% of them are just bands with white dudes in them, you end up booking those shows a whole lot. Because no matter how hard you try to be intentional, if you're booking too many shows, you're just going to end up letting even some small percentage of those acts through, because you're going to be like, oh, well, this person is cool, I'll let them come play, and this person too, that's fine, this band sounds good. But by only running 4 shows a year, I get to really be careful about, I guess not careful, but just intentional about who I want to book. So the first one was in March, and it went really, really well. We set up these walls with like projections on them, and we had a bunch of painters and that painted for the whole time. All sorts of different kinds of performers. We had hip hop and electronica and like, I don't know what you call Space Camp, but they're like one of the best bands, and they like play really all over the place music that is compelling and awesome. And it was great. It was wonderful. It was pretty much everything I wanted it to be. I dropped a little bit too much money making it happen, but it was worth it because I was like, I want people to know that this is a cool thing that happened, so that next time I do it, they'll come back again. So on Sunday was the second one, a couple months later, D.A.M.P. number 2. Denizens Afterlife Moon Party stands for D.A.M.P. And this one was really great too. I will say it was a little bit less intentional. It was a little bit more like I had ideas for bands to play, and then it was a little more like those bands dropped or couldn't play, and then I had these other bands who were coming through, and I was like, well, they're coming through that day, and they're good, and they kind of fit the theme that I want, which is like a little bit more of like this witchy, supernatural, like music event showcase. So I was like, all right, let's just do it. And I did it, and the show was really, really good. A good amount of people came, even though it's the summer, and this is a series of college towns that are all right next to each other. But I will say that the feeling was a little bit different as far as like the environment goes. Like the show was great, and I feel like people felt welcome, although if anybody didn't, please feel free to get in touch with me. I would love to hear your concerns. But it was more just, it didn't have that, it just didn't have the feeling that the first one had, I think, because I didn't do as good of a job of like intentionally putting it together. But I was really happy that it happened, and I was happy that all the acts played. We had this one really good visual artist named Annie Dunne. I'm terrible because I don't even know how to say their last name. Like just rapid fire painted for the whole time, and we had my friend Frankie comes and does makeup artist, like makeup art on people's faces that's like makes you into like a monster or fairy or David Bowie or whoever. Not saying anything about David Bowie either way, but just like the aesthetic of sort of this fantastical personification that you can exist in within this space that is D.A.M.P. And it's really great to have them there. The bands were all really great. Running Laps is a hip-hop artist from Boston. They do a lot of loops that involve like cartoon and like 90s kind of stuff. I mean modern cartoon stuff too, like Steven Universe, who basically they do a spiel about Steven Universe, or they did one. About how great of a show it is, and I agree. I love that show. It's amazing. That show is one of the reasons that like I want to be a comic artist right now, even at 30 years old. Anyways, Running Laps is great. You can look them up. I'm gonna link them down below. And then Marco played, who is a local electronica and like maybe a little noisy. Like anyone who lives in Western Mass is at least a little bit noisy somehow, even the acoustic acts. Really great. Puts out a lot of, produces stuff for other people around here, so that's pretty cool. And then ASTRID played. I was lucky enough to play drums for ASTRID, and we practiced just before the show, like while I was roping all these volunteers to set up all of the different stage plots that I had set up to make this event weird and different. I was practicing with ASTRID, who is a duo but was on this tour just like a solo guitarist, and I offered to play drums for a couple songs, and it was a really fun collaboration that I hope that we get to do again sometime. They spent a lot of the show doing tarot readings for everybody, which was really cool, and did like make up for the fact that I did not plan enough for this show to create the atmosphere that I really wanted. and they played a really great set. And then T-REXTASY played last, or I played last, but T-REXTASY was like the last featured artist to play last. And they're just really great, upbeat, like fun rock. Can't even say like, I mean they are punk, but like not, it's just rock, like good, fun, like upbeat, kind of sunny, awesome stuff. So it's good. There's links downstairs in the little section right above the comment section. So it was great. It was lots of fun. But I was cleaning up until like maybe 12:30 at night, and I got to the venue at 4:30, so it was like too much. So I'm definitely going to wait to do the next D.A.M.P, if I do one at all, until I have some money saved up, because it's really important to me to pay everybody who's involved. And like I really struggled with that because the people who come to my shows just don't have money. People don't have money, or they have money and they gotta prioritize other stuff with it besides shows, which is like, I'm definitely not gonna fault anybody for that. But I gotta wait until like I can properly make it all happen, and until I have the energy to really like plan everything ahead so that I can just roll in. Because basically what happened was I rolled into the venue I work at, and I basically was just like, I haven't planned this at all. Like, what random crap can I find in the basement to make this happen? And then I found it. Like, it was good, but it would be better if it was better planned. But anyways, so shows are kind of something that I'm trying to make not a part of my past, but I want my life to be not centered around shows. Like, the idea that my first video that I'm making is like starting off with me talking about a show. I want to change that about my life. I don't want to just be talking about like music. I was talking to somebody at a show recently to just be like, they were like, oh, like it was a person who I rarely see at shows, but we're friendly with each other. And they're like, oh, like, are you still playing? And I was like, oh, I'm trying to lay off a little bit. And they were like, oh, so you're like staying at home to just write songs? And I was like, no, I haven't really been writing songs that much. I'm just kind of like chilling. And they were like, oh, so you're totally making new album art and album covers and like putting it all together so you have a product. And I was like, no, I'm really just chilling, like trying to relax. And they basically like kind of looked at me like I had three heads, like, and I was trying to explain that I feel like sometimes when you're a musician, you can become this two-dimensional machine that's just all about the music. And music's great, like music saves a lot of people and helps a lot of things, but there's so much more to life than just playing music. I feel like eventually if you just play music too much, all of your songs are just about playing music. Like, I don't want to write songs about playing music anymore. So I'm trying to do other things. So today, me and my husband, we went and we gardened.
That's a good face to start off with. Doing the work. Look at all he's already done. Wow.
He got a plot in the town that we're in. There's this forest that we love to go to. It has all these wonderful bridges. It has a cool little labyrinth that's like a shrine type thing. It's like a really sort of magical place. And he got a garden plot in there. It's
Look at Cal being cute. Dig dirt.
I'm showing you how to dig dirt.
Yeah. You did it.
space that's about as big as this living room that I don't know how to explain how big this living room is to you right now. I don't know how to explain to you how big this living room is right now, but I have a pretty big living room, and we just went there with some shovels and just spent the whole day just like pulling out weeds and overturning the soil and planting seeds for we put out 2 rows of seeds, one for lettuce and one for cucumbers. I'm hoping we can take a bunch of the cucumbers and make pickles out of them, because I love pickles. I found out that you can make your own pickles. I know that for some people that might just be like, you didn't know that you can make your own pickles, this is how you make pickles. But for me, I was like, you can make your own pickles? That's so great. I mean, I think I only just recently found out that I like pickles, because going grocery shopping is pretty new for me. But it was great. We spent 2 hours just gardening, and I don't know. I'm stressed out about a lot of different things right now. So, like, I kind of got to just go and like put a shovel in the dirt for 2 hours, and I felt really good afterwards. Like, I felt great. Kind of not just exercise. Like, I think the idea of just getting exercise to feel less depressed is like works for some people, but other people it doesn't. But like the idea of getting exercise and in turn putting these things in the ground that are going to become life is pretty amazing. And I'm excited to do a bunch of things with the garden plot. There's like a piece of the garden plot that's like 80% of it that we're going to use for growing stuff. And then we're going to also clear out the space around that so that I want to build a little like witchy workspace in the garden plot, and then we can put out a space that we can like do yoga in. It'd be really nice. I'm interested if anybody watching this, of which there's probably going to be 3 of you because this is my first video, who knows plants that you can plant in the ground and then they grow and you can use them for incense, that you burn and smell and like be spooky with. I would love to know suggestions for that, other than sage, because everyone always tells me sage. Like, I know sage, but you know, there's got to be more smells than just sage. Like, there's got to be more plants that you can smell. But yeah, gardening was super great, and I'm excited to go back there multiple times. There's a river that you can like walk from the garden spot to the river and like fill your water bucket with and go back and water your plants. It's like really great. I never thought the gardening could be that great. But I think it was because I think sometimes when you get involved with these things, like gardening or like yoga or anything like that, you get involved with them because someone who's really into them is like, you should do this. Like, this will make you better, or like whatever the thing is. And because they're really into it and they've been doing it for like 3 to 5 years, they can really just like dive headfirst into that sort of like rabbit hole right away. And be really good at it. Like, they can do the like hour-long yoga session or even the 30 minutes yoga session. And for me, like, if I'm gonna do yoga, like, I'm doing it for 5 to 10 minutes in the morning when I wake up, and that like resets me a little bit. I mean, not reset because I just woke up, but like, you get the idea. It structures the way that my brain works so that I'm a little bit happier for the rest of the day instead of like staying in bed the whole day. But when I first was trying to do it, it was like you know, you go to a class, there's a whole bunch of people who are really into yoga, and they do it for an hour, and by the first 15 minutes, you're just like, oh, every part of my body hurts, and I'm breathing hard, and, like, I get that you, like, gotta push yourself to get results in some ways, but it's also nice to relax. Like, that's good, too. And I think the same thing with gardening. I feel like people who I've met before who are into gardening were really into gardening, so, like, they would just go out for the whole day and work really hard, and for me, it's like, if I can just go out there for an hour every other day and just lackadaisically pull weeds out of the ground and put some seeds in, then that would be nice. But, yeah, that's what I did for my last 2 days, and this is my first video. I'm not planning on putting out any new music anytime soon. I mean, next week there's going to be this, my friend KHILL, who's a rapper from North Carolina, is coming out with a new album, and one of the songs has me, like, featured doing a cameo kind of thing, a guest part of it. So I'm gonna, you know, I'll link you at the bottom, but it's not coming out until Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, but probably by the time this video goes up, it's gonna be Wednesday or Thursday. So June 14th is when it comes out. You can look up KHILL, North Carolina rap, and you can see. But that's the only thing that's coming out, and I recorded that like a year ago, so that's the only reason that it's really coming out. And I was a little bit nervous about it coming out because I was like, oh, I don't even remember what this sounds like, and I've never put out anything that was involved with rap before. So I mean, I don't have like a big history of performing rap or like listening to rap or anything like that. So I was a little bit nervous about like space that I could possibly be taking up. But I saw some of the other people who are on the album, and it's gonna be really awesome. And like the things that I'm doing on it are like minuscule compared to like what a lot of other great people are doing. So it's gonna be a really good album, and it's gonna be great. So if you want to keep up with what I'm doing, like I might be doing some different art stuff or making videos or writing little songs. There might be a song playing right now as I'm speaking that I wrote specifically for this video, but I'm trying to find other ways to be like a musician and an artist and a performer besides just the grind of like putting together these like community events where you're sort of this like endless fountain with no boundaries that anyone can get to. I've really enjoyed being accessible, like really accessible to people for the past 10 years, but I can't do that like I used to be able to. So this is what it's gonna be, and I don't know what this is gonna look like. This is only the first one, but hopefully it's cool. I think it could be fun. So I guess if you want to see more videos, either subscribe to the channel that you're watching right now, or I made a newsletter. It's like it's called a tiny letter, and I like it because it's got a really easy interface. You can sign an email into that and then get very sparing amounts of emails from me. But that's it, and I guess I'll talk to you later. As you can see, we got a lot of stuff done. I know it looks like Cal is doing everything because I'm holding the camera a lot, but I did a lot. I raked and I shoveled. You can see it. Look at it all. It looks so nice.